In a pivotal moment for China's technology sector, President Xi Jinping is set to convene a high-level symposium next week with prominent entrepreneurs including Alibaba co-founder Jack Ma. This meeting, anticipated to take place on Monday, symbolizes a potential shift in the relationship between the Chinese government and its private tech sector, which has faced significant scrutiny and regulation in recent years. The gathering is expected to bring together between 20 to 30 leaders from some of China's most influential tech companies, including Huawei, Tencent, and the rising startup DeepSeek, often referred to as part of the Six Little Dragons of Hangzhou. This assembly comes at a crucial juncture for the Chinese economy, which is grappling with low growth rates, a sluggish consumer market, and increasing local government debt. The timing aligns with the annual meetings of China's national legislature and political advisory body, where strategies to rejuvenate economic growth will be a key focus. Reports indicate that Xi's meeting with Ma and other tech giants may send a strong signal of support for the private sector, which has been under significant pressure since 2020. That year marked a turning point when Xi's administration initiated a sweeping crackdown on major tech firms, including the cancellation of Alibaba's Ant Group IPO, a move that underscored the government's tightening grip on the industry. This meeting is seen as an attempt to mend relations and foster a more favorable environment for innovation and business growth. The response from the market has been swift. Alibaba's shares surged more than 6% on the news of the impending meeting, building on a remarkable 40% increase in the company's stock value this year alone. This rise was further buoyed by Alibaba's recent announcement that it would provide artificial intelligence technology for Apple's iPhones in China, a strategic move that underscores the company's growing prominence in the AI arena. Joseph Tsai, Alibaba's chairman, highlighted the necessity for collaboration between international firms and Chinese tech companies to navigate regulatory hurdles and regain market leadership in China's competitive smartphone landscape. Regulatory issues mean Apple needs to work with Chinese companies that develop AI, Tsai stated during a recent summit in Dubai, emphasizing the interdependence of these tech giants. The stakes are particularly high for the invited entrepreneurs, as they will be discussing not only the future of their companies but also the overall direction of China's tech landscape amidst rising tensions with the United States over trade and technology. The anticipated dialogue may include strategies to bypass U.S. restrictions and enhance domestic capabilities, particularly in artificial intelligence and telecommunications. DeepSeek, for instance, has made headlines with its low-cost AI model that rivals established Silicon Valley products, illustrating the potential for Chinese firms to innovate independently of Western technologies. This spirit of innovation echoes across the sector as companies like Huawei and Unitree Robotics also unveil groundbreaking products that challenge international norms. As the meeting approaches, the implications of this high-level dialogue extend beyond individual companies. They reflect a broader narrative of resilience and adaptation within China's tech ecosystem. The outcome could lay the groundwork for a renewed era of collaboration between the state and private enterprises, fostering an environment conducive to innovation and economic recovery. In conclusion, as Xi Jinping prepares to meet with leaders like Jack Ma, the implications of this symposium resonate deeply within China's ambitions to reclaim its position as a global technology powerhouse. Stakeholders will be watching closely not only for insights into the future of their businesses but also for indications of how China's economic policies will evolve in the face of both domestic challenges and international competition, in a significant display of diplomatic engagement. Chinese President Xi Jinping is set to chair a symposium that will bring together some of China's most influential business leaders, including Alibaba founder Jack Ma. This meeting, scheduled for February 14, 2025, comes at a pivotal moment for China's economy and its global standing as it seeks to navigate the challenges posed by shifting international relations and internal economic pressures. Sources close to the matter indicate that the symposium aims to foster dialogue between the government and the business sector, particularly against the backdrop of increasing scrutiny of corporate practices and a push for greater regulatory oversight in China. The participation of high-profile figures like Ma underscores the importance of aligning the interests of the state with the ambitions of private enterprises. especially as the Chinese economy grapples with stagnation and the lingering effects of a property market crisis. Meeting with business leaders is crucial for Xi as he aims to revitalize China's economy, said a political analyst familiar with the situation. This gathering is not just about encouraging investment, it's also about reassuring the international community that China remains a stable and attractive place for business. The symposium is expected to focus on strategies for economic recovery, innovation, and enhancing China's global competitiveness. This initiative comes amidst a broader context of international diplomacy, particularly as geopolitical tensions rise. President Xi's outreach aligns with efforts to counterbalance U.S. influence, especially as former President Donald Trump signals a return to aggressive trade policies. Trump's potential re-election poses a challenge for Xi, as he may seek to implement tariffs that could further strain U.S.-China relations. In this environment, Xi's meeting with business leaders signals a strategic pivot towards domestic stability and economic resilience. The symposium also reflects a shift in China's diplomatic posture. Following years of assertive foreign policy marked by the so-called wolf warrior diplomacy, Chinese officials are now adopting a more measured approach. By engaging with business leaders and addressing their concerns, Xi aims to cultivate a more cooperative atmosphere that could bolster China's image internationally, particularly among developing nations that may view the U.S. with skepticism in light of Trump's erratic policies. China's top diplomat Wang Yi has already begun a charm offensive in Europe, suggesting that China is keen to strengthen ties with key allies while mitigating the fallout from U.S. actions. Analysts suggest that Xi's ability to leverage these relationships will be crucial in countering any negative fallout from potential trade wars initiated by Trump. Xi has a unique opportunity to position China as a stabilizing force in a rapidly changing world, commented Jia Ian-chong, an associate professor of political science at the National University of Singapore. Looking ahead, the outcomes of this symposium could have significant implications for both domestic policy and international relations. If successful, it may not only pave the way for economic revitalization but also enhance China's standing on the global stage. However, challenges remain, particularly regarding issues like military aggression in the South China Sea and the ongoing Taiwan situation, which could complicate Xi's diplomatic efforts. As the world watches closely, the upcoming symposium may serve as a litmus test for Xi's leadership and China's capacity to adapt to an increasingly complex international landscape. The decisions made and the dialogues initiated during this event could very well shape the future of China's economy and its role in global affairs. In a surprising turn of events, Chinese President Xi Jinping has called upon some of the country's most influential tech leaders, including Alibaba's Jack Ma and Tencent's Pony Ma, in an effort to rejuvenate China's beleaguered private sector. This high-profile meeting, anticipated to occur as early as next week, comes at a critical time when the Chinese economy is grappling with stagnation, a significant property crisis, and declining consumer confidence. The anticipated discussions signal Xi's intent to offer a lifeline to private enterprises that have faced increased scrutiny and regulatory challenges over the past few years. Alibaba shares surged over 6% following reports of this impending meeting, underscoring the market's reaction to any potential thaw in relations between the state and private sector. The recent climb in Alibaba's stock, over 40% in 2025 alone, reflects investors' optimism about a renewed focus on collaboration between the government and major tech players. Xi Jinping's posture towards private businesses has shifted following a lengthy crackdown initiated in 2020, which notably included the cancellation of Alibaba's Ant Group IPO, an event that sent shockwaves through the tech industry. This forthcoming dialogue represents a strategic pivot for Xi, who has historically emphasized the importance of state enterprises while warning against disorderly growth in the private sector. As Beijing faces mounting economic pressures, the meeting with tech leaders may also serve as a signal of support for innovation and growth within the private sector, which is increasingly viewed as vital for economic recovery. Economists have observed that China's GDP growth target of approximately 5% for 2024, while seemingly optimistic, masks deeper structural issues. Predictions for 2025 suggest a slowdown to around 4.4%, raising concerns about the sustainability of economic momentum in the face of global uncertainties and domestic challenges such as local government debt and weak household consumption. The World Bank's forecast of 4.5% growth further emphasizes the precarious position of the Chinese economy. Xi's planned meeting with Ma and other prominent tech executives, including Liang Wenfeng of DeepSeek, a rising player in the AI landscape, could also highlight a shift towards embracing technological advancement as a cornerstone of China's economic strategy. The collaboration is particularly pertinent as global competition intensifies, particularly in the fields of artificial intelligence and advanced manufacturing. In the backdrop of this scenario, the geopolitical landscape is also shifting. The re-emergence of Donald Trump as a political force in the United States is adding complexity to the U.S.-China relationship. Trump's administration has been characterized by a confrontational stance toward China, including the imposition of tariffs and trade restrictions which have had ripple effects on both economies. This antagonism raises the stakes for Xi as he navigates the delicate balance between fostering domestic growth and managing international tensions. As Xi Jinping prepares to engage with the titans of Chinese technology, the outcomes of these discussions will not only shape the future of China's private sector but also reflect broader trends in global trade and economic policy. The stakes are high as both the Chinese government and its corporate giants seek pathways to revitalize an economy under stress, while the world watches to see whether this meeting marks a turning point in China's relationship with its private enterprises. The unfolding events will undoubtedly influence both domestic and international economic landscapes, potentially setting the stage for a new chapter in China's economic narrative. In an era marked by geopolitical tensions and shifting alliances, former President Donald Trump has proposed a controversial initiative aimed at reducing defense spending through negotiations with major global powers Russia and China. This proposal, made public in mid-February 2025, is generating significant debate among policymakers and military experts, especially as tensions between the U.S., China and Russia continue to escalate. Trump's plan comes at a time when American military operations are heavily focused on supporting Ukraine in its ongoing conflict with Russia. The suggestion to engage Russia and China in talks to cut defense budgets raises questions about the implications for U.S. national security, particularly in light of recent warnings from military officials regarding a potential conflict with China over Taiwan. Air Force General Michael A. Minahan has notably indicated that a war with China could be on the horizon as soon as 2025, highlighting the urgency of the situation. The backdrop to this proposal includes a significant increase in China's military capabilities and its expanding defense budget, which is projected to reach $270 billion in 2025. According to Pentagon assessments, China is rapidly advancing its nuclear arsenal, with estimates suggesting a stockpile of around 1,500 nuclear warheads by 2035. In contrast, the U.S. maintains a substantial nuclear arsenal of over 3,700 warheads. This stark disparity underscores the potential risks of Trump's proposal to scale back defense spending, particularly if it hinders the U.S. military's ability to respond to a Chinese incursion into Taiwan, which has been a focal point of U.S. defense policy. The challenges of balancing resources between supporting Ukraine and preparing for a possible conflict with China have been articulated by defense analysts. Critics of Trump's initiative argue that reducing defense spending could weaken U.S. deterrence in both Europe and the Indo-Pacific, emboldening adversaries like Russia and China. On the other hand, supporters of the proposal may contend that engaging in diplomacy could lead to a more stable global environment, ultimately reducing the need for extensive military expenditures. Moreover, the recent recruitment efforts by China for a planetary defense force aimed at addressing potential asteroid threats further illustrate the competitive landscape of international defense initiatives. This move demonstrates China's ambition to enhance its technological capabilities while focusing on global challenges, which could inadvertently serve as a distraction from its military ambitions in the region. As the United States grapples with these complex dynamics, The Atlantic Council emphasizes that the defense of Taiwan is intrinsically linked to the ongoing support for Ukraine. The notion that resources spent on Ukraine detract from preparedness for Taiwan overlooks the interconnected nature of these geopolitical challenges. A successful defense of Ukraine could serve as a deterrent to Chinese aggression and reinforce U.S. commitments to its allies in the region. The future of U.S. defense policy will likely continue to be influenced by the outcomes of both the conflict in Ukraine and the strategic calculations regarding Taiwan. With competing interests at play and the specter of war looming, the effectiveness of Trump's proposal to cut defense spending through negotiations will depend on a careful assessment of global security needs and the potential risks involved. As the situation evolves, stakeholders will be closely monitoring the implications of these developments on U.S. military readiness and global stability, ultimately shaping the contours of international relations in the years to come. The dialogue surrounding defense spending, diplomatic negotiations, and military preparedness will undoubtedly remain a critical focal point for policymakers and analysts alike. In a significant diplomatic maneuver, Russian President Vladimir Putin has extended an invitation to U.S. President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping to attend a celebration in Moscow marking the 80th anniversary of the Soviet Union's victory in the Great Patriotic War. This invitation, reported by the Russian state news agency TASS, may set the stage for a landmark summit that could reshape the dynamics of international relations, particularly concerning the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Putin's overture comes at a time when U.S.-Russia relations are strained, and Trump has yet to meet either leader since his inauguration last month. While the Kremlin has expressed hope for Trump's attendance, it remains uncertain whether the U.S. president will accept the invitation. Igor Morgulov, Russia's ambassador to China, confirmed that she has accepted, illustrating a burgeoning partnership between Moscow and Beijing. During a recent phone call, Putin conveyed to Trump his willingness to engage in discussions on topics of mutual interest, notably a potential resolution to the Ukraine crisis. "We are ready to meet U.S. officials to discuss common issues," Putin reportedly stated, highlighting the Kremlin's desire for dialogue amidst escalating tensions in Eastern Europe. Trump has also suggested a meeting with Putin in Saudi Arabia, though specific details remain unconfirmed. This potential summit presents a unique opportunity for both leaders to negotiate directly with Xi, potentially aligning their stances on global issues such as trade, security, and regional conflicts. However, the implications of such a meeting extend beyond mere diplomatic decorum. Analysts suggest that a gathering of these three leaders could signal a shift in the geopolitical landscape, particularly in light of the recent developments surrounding Taiwan and broader U.S.-China relations. In the context of Taiwan, the complexities of its sovereignty and its relationship with China continue to pose significant challenges. As Taiwan operates as a de facto independent state, the Chinese government perceives its existence as a threat to national unity. The varying strategies proposed for Taiwan's future, including frameworks like associated statehood and confederation, illustrate the intricate balancing act required to navigate these waters. Xi Jinping's recent proposals for peaceful reunification contrast sharply with the historical context of Deng Xiaoping's principles. She emphasizes the need for a distinct approach tailored to Taiwan's circumstances, advocating for increased economic and cultural integration while reinforcing the One China principle. However, the duality of Xi's strategy, promoting peaceful dialogue while reserving the right to use force, reflects the complicated realities of cross-strait relations. Meanwhile, the U.S. response to these developments is crucial. As tensions escalate, the potential for a collaborative framework involving the U.S., China, and Taiwan may depend on the outcomes of the proposed summit in Moscow. A united front among these nations could pave the way for innovative solutions to long-standing challenges, including the ongoing conflict in Ukraine and the precarious status of Taiwan. As the world watches, the upcoming months are poised to be pivotal. The potential for a summit involving Trump, Xi, and Putin could redefine not just bilateral relations but also multilateral dynamics, offering a chance for dialogue that might mitigate tensions across various fronts. The outcomes of these discussions, particularly in relation to Taiwan's future and the ongoing situation in Ukraine, remain to be seen, but they will undoubtedly have lasting impacts on global geopolitics. In the ever-evolving landscape of international relations, the implications of these diplomatic efforts will become clearer in the near future. With the stakes higher than ever, the world anticipates how these leaders will navigate the complexities of their respective national interests while seeking a path towards stability and cooperation.